We just spent 6 weeks in Barcelona and we saw travelers make the same mistakes over and over again. Eating at tourist trap restaurants, endlessly queuing at the Gaudi highlights. We even saw someone get pickpocketed right next to us. So in this video, we're gonna go over 24 of the biggest mistakes travelers make in Barcelona so you can avoid them. Don't get stuck outside Sagrada Familia. Imagine flying all the way to Barcelona to see the Sagrada Familia, but then when you get here, they don't let you inside. This happens every day because people don't realize there is no ticket booth here. You can only buy tickets online. And if I try to buy one right now, it's sold out for the next 4 days. However, if you just book 3 weeks ahead, you're totally good to go. Do not visit Park Güell at 11 a.m. Park Güell is one of Gaudi's masterpieces, this incredible park with fairy tale architecture, but a lot of people actually end up really disappointed here because they come at the wrong time. If you come here around noon, the viewpoints are going to be packed, selfie sticks everywhere, and there's not a lot of shade in this park, so in summer you're going to feel like a rotisserie chicken. So just do what we did last time. Come here at 9 a.m. right when it opens, and you're gonna have the most magical morning. Do not eat on La Rambla. You did not fly all the way out to Barcelona to have microwave paella, but a lot of these restaurants, that's exactly what they're gonna serve you. This is tourist trap central. Most of the restaurants on this street have the same red flags. They've got a menu in 5 languages, photos of every dish that they serve, and a waiter who's trying to wave you in because they really desperately need some customers. A local would never ever eat here. Instead, we're gonna get off the street and walk 5 minutes to get to Bar Cañete. This is the best tapas restaurant that we have been to in Barcelona.
It's so good, I honestly don't want to share it.
But you do want to make reservations in advance, or you can walk to Calpep, a restaurant in the El Born district. Not only do they have amazing seafood tapas, but you can also sit at the bar and watch them cook right in front of you, and the staff are super kind and helpful here. So the next category of tips we're going to cover is money and safety. After that, we're also going to talk about pre-trip planning mistakes, things you should never do at a Barcelona restaurant, and of course big cultural don'ts, because there's a lot of things that tourists accidentally do that actually are offensive to the locals here.
Next up, don't underestimate the pickpockets. Now, Barcelona is very safe in general, but for pickpocketing it's one of the worst cities in Europe. Last week we were sitting in this Starbucks right here and someone's backpack was stolen right off the back of their chair. Can you imagine just losing your passport and wallet in split seconds? Pickpockets usually operate in busy areas like La Rambla, the Gothic corridor, or even the metro. But don't worry, there's a few simple things you can do to avoid becoming an easy target. Never keep your phone and wallet in your back pockets, only use your front pockets. When you're in a crowd, zip your bag, keep it in front of you where you can see it. At a restaurant, try not to put your bag on the back of your chair, just put it in your lap or loop the strap around your leg. And don't leave your phone on the table outside so it can't get snatched. If you do these things, you don't need to worry, you're going to be fine. Do not use the Euronet ATMs. These machines are everywhere in Barcelona. Quite frankly, they are evil. They charge a €6 transaction fee, and on top of that another 13% fees because they have the worst exchange rate in the world. If you want to withdraw €100 here, you lose €19 in fees. Stand back in. Just use real Spanish banks instead.
Don't get a €100 fine. There are 3 rules that tourists accidentally break all the time in Barcelona, and they can really cost you. First, when you take public transport, buying your ticket is just step 1. You then also need to scan it here, because otherwise you can just keep reusing it. If you forget about this and get a ticket inspection, that will cost you €100 per person. Second, last week police issued over 1,000 fines for public drinking. So it's totally fine to have a beer on a terrace, but don't do it while you're on the beach or just walking around, because that's actually illegal. And third, this is a mistake that we almost made ourselves. Look. Woo! Woo! We rented one of these electrical scooters that you can find all around Barcelona. It's by an app called Naick. Super fun way to get around the city, but just know that you can only park these in designated areas. Otherwise, you can get a really big fine. So if you do this, which I recommend, check the app to know where you can park it.
Don't mess up tipping. When the bill comes here in Barcelona, don't feel pressure to leave a big tip. Waiters earn a full salary here, so a tip is just a small thank you. We just had some food and some drinks here on the Plaza Real, which is a beautiful square in the Gothic Quarter. The bill comes down to $36.20, so I might round up to 38 or 39 if the service was good.
Very important though, if you can, try the tip in cash, because if you do it on the card, you're not sure if your waiter's ever gonna actually see the money, so. Now there's a lot more you need to know about restaurants, like how to order tapas and something that travelers do that the locals actually find weird. But first, the mistakes you make before you even get on the plane. Don't buy the wrong ticket for Casa Batlló. This is the biggest mistake we made on this trip to Barcelona. Casa Batlló is one of Saudi's most spectacular buildings, but crowds really kill the magic here. We visited at 9 a.m., which is right when it opens, but it was already packed with tour groups. What we didn't know is that there's also an 8:30 a.m. ticket, the first entry ticket that lets you go in half an hour before the doors officially open to everybody else, so you can actually see it in peace. You can get that ticket on GetYourGuide, which is where we buy all our tours and tickets. GetYourGuide has over 150,000 activities in cities all over the world. We love them because you don't have to sign up to a different website for every attraction for your trip. You can just book everything in one place. We'll put the links to all the tickets that we recommend getting in the description box below, so you know exactly which ones to get. But do make sure to buy them 2 to 3 weeks in advance if you can, especially in high season, because they really do sell out. Don't assume July and August are the best time to visit. July and August are European school holidays, which means peak crowds and peak prices. And in August specifically, a lot of small family-run restaurants and neighborhood shops actually close down for their own vacation. And those are the exact places that give Barcelona such a nice vibe. So it's not a bad time to visit, but if you have flexibility, May and June or September have almost identical weather and a lot less hassle. Now this next one can literally mess up half your day here in Barcelona if you don't know about it.
Don't expect things to be open all day. Here in Spain, a lot of small shops and restaurants close in the afternoon from about 2 to 5 p.m. People take a long lunch break, and in the evening the city comes alive again, so be sure to plan around this. Also keep in mind that Monday or Sundays are often closing days too.
Don't stay in the wrong neighborhood. There's 2 neighborhoods you want to avoid staying in. The first is the Barceloneta area. That's right next to the beach, but because of nightlife, it gets really noisy at night, and it's pretty far from all of the main sites. The other one is Raval. That's literally one of the only places that people often say feels sketchy after dark in Barcelona. So where should you actually stay? One great option is the Eixample area. It's beautiful, and you'll be right in the middle of the action because it's close to Casa Batlló, the Sagrada Familia. But our personal favorite is the El Born district because it has these beautiful narrow alleys that Barcelona is so famous for. It is low on crowds and high on really good restaurants. Gracias. We stayed at the Park Hotel. They have a really beautiful rooftop pool. We really love the hotel. So if you want to check it out, I'll put the link in the description box below. Don't count on Uber. This part of Spain has never really liked Uber because they want to protect the real taxis. So by the end of 2026, Uber is actually going to be banned from the city center of Barcelona. What you should probably do is before you get on your flight, download the app called Free Now. It kind of works like Uber, but it will connect you to the real official taxi fleet of Barcelona. Or even better, just take the metro. This is the fastest and the cheapest way to get around Barcelona, but I do recommend that you avoid buying all individual tickets. That costs you €2.90 per ticket. Whereas if you get this, which is called the T-Casual, that has 10 rides, and then it's only €1.30 per ride. It works on the metro, the bus, and the train.
Alright, so far we've been focusing on planning mistakes, but now we're going to cover some cultural mistakes, and we're going to start off with the best part, restaurants. So let's head inside this tapas bar. Don't ignore how tapas work. I've been coming to tapas restaurants like ever since I was a little kid. I've been to hundreds of restaurants.
So how many should you have if you're 2 people?
A lot of tourists kind of get confused by the concept and end up ordering it completely the wrong way. So tapas are small plates of different foods. You can have them as an appetizer or even as a full meal. So if you want, you can just have some drinks and order like 1 or 2 tapas to share as like a small little snack to go with. If you want to make a full meal out of it, usually like if you're 2 people, like 5 dishes, that should be plenty.
What is the biggest mistake that people make?
I kind of think the biggest mistake people make is thinking they have to like order everything all at once, if they have like a big order. I think for me the best way to do is just like order a couple of dishes, get started with it, Then see if you want to add more, or maybe go to a different place, have some more tapas dinner. It's you can kind of organize it the way you want.
Don't expect too much from the service. A lot of travelers to Spain, especially Americans, will tell you that Spanish waiters aren't really very polite, even a little bit rude, but that is the wrong way of looking at it. When it gets busy at a tapas restaurant, these people are hustling, bringing out all these small plates to the tables almost individually as they're prepared by the kitchen. They often are in charge of half a room by themselves. So it's true that they're not gonna come up to you and ask you how everything's tasting and check in on you every 5 minutes, but if you need something and you raise your hand, they're gonna be on it in a second. So don't mistake efficiency for rudeness. Don't go to a restaurant at 6 p.m. Spaniards eat late. A lot of the locals have lunch between 1 and 3 p.m. Dinner is often from 8 to 9:30. So if you want to go to a nice, small, family-run restaurant and you show up there really early, you're either going to be the only one there or it's not even going to be open yet. This is not going to be true for every restaurant, but for a lot of them. Don't trust La Boqueria market. Don't get me wrong, La Boqueria is worth seeing, especially because you can see so many different kinds of Spanish food here, but you do kind of have to be careful if you decide to eat here. Look at these churros. Churros are supposed to be nice and hot and crispy, freshly prepared, but the ones sitting in this counter are probably going to be here for a couple hours, so they're going to be cold and soggy by the time you eat them. A lot of these stalls only survive because the foot traffic in La Boqueria is just so immense.
One of the things you should try is a Spanish jamón. You can find this everywhere. It's one of the local specialties and it's super delicious. Or you can go to El Quim, which has thousands of reviews. We went there in our last video and we had the squid with the fried eggs and we had some cheese croquettes and everything was just fantastic. It was so good, I had to fight Kim for the last bite. Literally with knife and fork. If there's one dish you need to be picky about, it's paella, so don't settle for paella. Locals will tell you there's a lot of mediocre ones here in Barcelona, so you have to go to a restaurant that really specializes in it. We went to Siringuito Escriba, hope I'm pronouncing that right. They have an open kitchen, you can watch them prepare it in these huge pans, and the seafood paella was amazing, highly recommend it. And to help you find even more great food, we've put together a map with 20 great restaurants where we've been ourselves, highly recommend it. I'll put it in the description box below, go and grab it, it's completely free.
Now we've come to cultural mistakes, which is very important because when you're in Barcelona, you probably want to blend in and you definitely don't want to do something that might offend the locals. So don't dress inappropriately. Barcelona has a bit of a complicated relationship with tourism. There have been protests over the last few years and some locals have started pushing back against it quite openly. Now that does not mean that people are hostile towards visitors because everyone we've met here has been super welcoming, but it is very important to be respectful. And one of the things that irritates locals the most is when tourists wander around the city in their beach outfits. So with a bikini or a bare chest, a towel draped around your shoulders. This makes people feel as though you think of their city as a resort. So make sure to put on some proper clothes when you come back from the beach and pay extra care when going into a church because Spain is a deeply religious country and that means you cannot have any bare shoulders, bare knees, or cleavage showing if you are going into a church. Whether you're a guy or a girl, it does not matter. Don't assume the locals speak English. The good news about traveling around in Barcelona is that the tourist infrastructure is really good. If you go to buy tickets for the metro, the machine will be in English. If you're at one of the Gaudi highlights, all of the signs are going to be in English. But if you walk into a shop or a restaurant in Barcelona and you start speaking in English and assume everyone will just follow your lead and understand, that is actually kind of rude because a lot of locals don't speak it and you are kind of in their cities. It makes a massive difference to your waiter, to your hotel receptionist, if you just lead with buenos dias or bon dia, which is Catalan, which brings me to my next point. Don't forget you are in Catalonia because Barcelona is not just a Spanish city, it's also the capital of a Spanish region called Catalonia. And they have their own culture, their own language, and a very fierce pride in being different from the rest of Spain. So if you take the bus here, there's going to be signs in 3 different languages, in English to help you out, in Spanish, and in Catalan. If you go into a shop and you buy something, people don't say gracias in Spanish, they say merci in Catalan. And if you reply with merci as well, you can just see their faces light up because it makes them feel so appreciated. So don't forget about this.
Don't spend too much time in the Gothic quarter. Of course, you have the beautiful cathedral right behind me, and then here you have the medieval alleyways, but the locals will tell you this isn't the Barcelona they live in, because nowadays it has become very touristy. It's lined wall to wall with souvenir shops. Now, I'm not saying to skip it. When you come to the beautiful, famous Ponte del Bisbe, definitely take some pictures here, but it gets pretty crowded here, so just head 2 streets that way where you'll find the quiet Plaza San Felipe Neri, where you have a beautiful church and a bar and you'll have it all to yourself. And second, leave some time to just walk some other areas too. One of my favorite things to do is just stroll the Passeig de Gracia. Has these grand buildings, and on one side you find these fairy tale towers, and then you turn a corner and then you find tiny pedestrian alleyways that feel like secrets.
Don't have sangria with your dinner. If you're at a restaurant and your waiter is suggesting a big jug of sangria to go with your paella, that's a sign you're probably at a bit of a touristy spot, because Spaniards don't typically do that. In Spain, sangria is more of a party drink. It doesn't pair well with a lot of foods because it's very sweet, so there are no fines for this particular behavior. But if you want to blend in a little bit more, instead of sangria, go for a beer or wine with your dinner.
Don't wait for the bills. Unlike in some other countries, here in Spain, they won't bring you the bill automatically. You have to ask for it. In Spanish, it's la cuenta, por favor. It's not because they're being rude, it's just because they want to give you time to relax and just enjoy your meal.
Don't just stay in the city. One of the cool things about Barcelona is its location right on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. And one of our favorite things we did here was a sunset sailing trip. It was 2 hours out on the water with unlimited cava, tapas in a small group. It was amazing, especially after a full day of walking around the city. And if you want to do a full day trip, you can also go to Montserrat. Hour outside the city. It's a 1,000-year-old monastery high up in the mountains around Barcelona. Incredible. We'll link those activities in the description box below in case you want to check them out. With everything you've learned in this video, I'm sure Barcelona is going to be an amazing trip for you. If you want to see our 3-day itinerary for the city, you can watch that video here. Or if you want to know 10 restaurants that are really worth your time, go and watch that here. Adios.